Yes, we are indeed back with All Bets Are Off. I am Paul Cosno from theclevelandfan.com and sportstimeohio.com. Along here is my co-writer, Tony Lastoria, who also writes for those publications or websites, if you want to call them that. And since we are running a little bit late here, we're just going to take a quick phone call, talk about some Indians. We've got Mark from Niles. Mark, how are you today?
Hi, how's it going, gentlemen? Good. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
I love your enthusiasm, Tony. 80 wins, 85 wins.
I think that Tony's thinking that if everything breaks right for this team, that the Central is not necessarily one of those divisions that's going to step up, and if everything breaks right with some of this talent, I'm assuming that the starting pitching holds up, that 80 to 85 wins is possible.
I don't see that. We all know it. Good pitching beats beats hitting any day, and we're going to have an awful young lineup. I see us pushing 100, maybe 95 to 105.
90 losses to 105 losses?
95 to 105, yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I do.
And I guess the counterpoint would be that, you said that good pitching beats good hitting all the time. With the unbalanced schedule that the Indians playing the Central as much as they do, I think the White Sox rotation's pretty good. I think the Tigers have a couple good pieces and parts at the top of the rotation. But outside of that, the Central, which was not a real overwhelming place to play last year, certainly doesn't look to be, any much better this year.
No.
Do you think that that can play into the making those growing pains not quite as painful?
Yes and no, but I think with being young, I mean the players they're young, and we have new managers and a new approach to the game, and our players have been I don't want to say they've been programmed to play a certain way, and now we're going to be programmed to play another way. But Maniac has brought a different approach to the game, and I don't say either as far as his approach will be the effect, but it's how well these players will adjust to this different approach being in the major leagues. Because the major leagues, we all know it's a tough cookie to crack. I mean, and now they're putting. I think it's going to be a long year for an Indians fan.
I don't disagree with you. I think it's going to be a long season, but I think that what you have to look for is that that little run that they had from 2005 to 2009 is done. And I think that now what you have to do is they've torn it down, and how quickly now can they rebuild it, and how quickly can these guys make that transition, because I do think it's going to be interesting to see what kind of effect a guy like Maniac has on some of this young talent, or if he's able to rescue some of this talent, that we've seen really fall off the cliff. We've seen Carmona and Peralta.
Exactly.
Guys that you really thought were going to be, the ones.
Pieces.
The ones to carry that group from, let's say the 07 team to the 012 team, that you thought that was going to be that bridge. And because those guys really fell apart, that's why you found yourself where we were last year, where you're looking at guys, a team that finished with the same record as the Royals did last year.
Correct. Now, as you see, I'm from Niles, and seeing how the other gentleman there follows the complete prospects, how do you see Mahoning Valley doing this year?
How do you see Mahoning Valley this year, Tom?
How do I see the team this year?
Mm-hmm.
How do you see them doing?
I haven't drafted anybody yet, pretty much.
Oh, there you go.
You're going to have some of the young guys go there that were in Arizona last year. You may see like a Rolando Petit. He's a good upcoming catcher from Latin America. Roberto Perez. I mean, these are guys that a lot of people probably like, who are these guys? But
I understand. I understand
he can go to Lake County, or he can start off the year in the Mahoning Valley again. It's one of those things where Mahoning Valley is always a college-driven team. So you're going to have, out of that 30-man roster, 25 of those guys are going to be new guys you draft in from the draft this year. They'll have some holdovers. I think you may see Carlos Moncrief finally get to an affiliate, a guy they took 2 years ago. I thought it was like 95, 96. He's just a complete project. But that's pretty much about it, I think.
Okay.
See that? So there you go, Mark. And enjoy the Mahoning Valley Scrappers games. Those games are fun, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they are. It's considering the talent, you're seeing talent against comparative talent. So that's why I think it's a funner game to watch. Excuse me.
That's right.
But one more quick thing before
Mark.
I go. Do either one of you cover the football? I know. Do you cover football, Cusino?
We don't. No, we generally cover the Indians. But if you'd like to talk football, we can talk football. We talk all things here.
Okay, because I was wondering, as you see, Mark Sanchez had a surgery today.
Yeah.
Okay, on a play where he busted his knee on the ground,
right.
why aren't they wearing pads? What has become of the league? Who pays? Is this considered a workman's comp case?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I would assume that they don't wear the pads for, necessarily on their knees, although I can't ever say I've ever played competitive football, that, to give them a little bit more flexibility. As for who pays for it, I'm sure that the team pays everything for it. There's no way that they have any workman's comp issues or things like that.
Correct. And my question is, how can any owner allow a player to not wear the complete uniform? It's about a long-term investment on $1 million athlete.
Right.
And you watch, another example is we watched Chad Ochocinco several weeks ago in pregame warm-up, wearing his uniform at 8:30, 8:25, and he busted and cracked his knee. And everybody says, oh, he busted his knee, but nobody neglected to say in any of those reports, had he been wearing a knee pad, maybe the injury wouldn't have been as severe.
Right. I'm sure that the owners who might write those checks aren't happy about it. But thanks a lot, Mark, and have a good night.
You too.
We're going to take a quick break. As I said, we were a little short on time and missed a break there, so we're just going to take a quick break. You are watching All Bets Are Off. I'm Paul Cosno here with Tony Lastoria. If you want to join in, you can certainly give us a call at 866-786-8551 or email us at bruce@sportstimeohio.com. But we'll be right back to take more phone calls and talk with Tony, talk a little bit about some prospects and specifically some prospect rankings, as Tony knows all about.